Footy's back. Ba-da-da, ba-ba, ba-da-da, ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba. Welcome to Footy Unfilterated. Not only is Footy back, but so are the Bombers. I'm your host, James Clements. With me on the other side of this here screen is the happiest man in all of Melbourne right now. He's got the Bombers flag, the Bombers top, the Bombers coffee mug. Brad Scott's going to be the next premiership coach at Essendon. I mean, he's the most stoked man in Melbourne. It's Jez. Jez, what's going on?
Jim, I've just finished my letter to Brad Scott asking him to adopt me. How good is it? How good is it? We're back. We're back.
We
are back.
Nearly
back. Look, see this? It's ours. Woo!
Nearly going a full calendar year without a win, and then your long national nightmare is over. So that's
and what a way it was over too.
It was pretty good. So look, Gather Round's done. Footy is fully back to the point where we've now got Sydney and GWS going, wait a minute, why are we playing this Friday? Which is, footy is so back. It's never been more back. I love it. So we're going to wrap up Gather Round today. We'll do our weekly awards, obviously, as per usual. We've got some yeah-nahs, and we've got around 6 picks and previews, etc. It's, as per usual, we're going to have a lot of fun stuff in there. So, lots to cover. Without further ado, let's get into it. It's Footy without the Bull. It's Footy Unfilterated. Let's go.
This is not our fault. We seem happy just to wait. Coffin now fill up our fate. Gotta sack that up one more. More than dust and cobwebs.
Righto, Jez. Before we do anything, of course, our mates at the Ramshackle Army are playing Scarfighter 2 at the Bendigo Hotel on May 9. I'll see you there wandering in after Deftones, which will be pretty good.
I'll be there at some point.
But first of all, Jez, I want to know, what are they paying you?
Well, apparently not enough to have a thick skin.
Apparently. So, that's been the biggest story the last couple of days post-Gather Round is that Zach Butters gives away a 50 and gets reported for saying something that we're not entirely sure if the umpire heard correctly, and suddenly it doesn't get picked up by the umpire's microphone, and here we are. What a world we live in. So this is the cool thing about doing our show on a Tuesday night each week is we have Zeets down at the actual tribunal all afternoon just going, I don't know what's going on. This is what they're saying now. So I guess it's been upheld and he's now been fined $1,500 and everyone's like, oh, well, okay.
It's a big story for a $1,500 fine.
I think someone pointed out it cost $10,000 to go to the tribunal. So,
I wonder if he lost 4 demerit points as well.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a speeding fine.
That's basically what you get around Brunswick up there. So that's the big one. But obviously, secondly, what did you think of Gather Round, Jez? So having been there, my favourite sport now, not going this year, my favourite sport is disgruntled media talking about how bad actually Gather Round is. That's a fun one. I've enjoyed that. Written by people who aren't at Gather Round seems like a very awesome take and definitely not one to get people enraged for no reason.
There's a bit of that creeping into the broadcast as well. I noticed when watching the Mighty Bombers do their thing, there's a lot of comments about how the crowd's not really into it. Oh, but it's a neutral crowd. What did you expect from Essendon and Melbourne playing in Adelaide, you idiots? What? Yeah, it's... They can't have a showdown on every game. Surely they understand that this isn't about having the crowd atmosphere you're going to have at a Adelaide, Port Adelaide, or even a Carlton, Collingwood at the MCG. It's about a celebration of football and fans from all over the place coming together to watch football.
Yeah, I want to hit on that more in Nars, but it has been, I want to say I've seen at least 3 different outlets doesn't it just seem like Gather Round's not even just for footy fans anymore? You're not there. Shut up. What are you judging this on? What you've seen on the internet? Shut up, idiot. Anyway, the other sort of big thing to come out of this is that the AFL was like, Yeah, so round 0, what we're going to do is probably try to have all 18 teams play. And everyone's like, oh, so like round 1. Good. And then they're like, oh, well, we might do it up north. And then it took, I think, the Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas, to go, I don't know if that sounds like a good idea, because then you've got, St Kilda Freo playing to 15 people at Engie, which is a very good point. And
Correct.
one is, it's probably been borne out by pre-round zeros in the past. So, I don't know, maybe just start off with round 1 or just come up with a better idea, you big dummies. I think it's also hamstrung this next year, isn't it? Because you've got the G hosting the Centennial Test. So, they can't have stuff.
So they're not going to be able to play a game. Well, they probably could at Marvel, but you might as well play it at Engie.
I'm just saying, let's kick it all off with regional round. Very simple,
Absolutely.
very easy.
Footy Unfilterated solution.
Love that. Right. So I guess the big sort of news is, like, don't say mean things to the umpires who also have jobs at sports betting companies. Can't say anything mean about that or to them. Nothing sus here, nothing sus here. But I think the big, obviously Gather Round, it was really fun sort of watching the entire thing again from back over here, but also being in Sydney, because I was there for 2 days over the weekend. And like that sort of weird, like in Melbourne, you sort of watch a bunch of the footy over the weekend. You sort of get a vibe for the entire thing across it. I'm watching through Fox Footy. And then instead, for a couple of days, I'm watching these games in Sydney pubs. And again, it's Sydney. And so you're like, oh, we better find the second telly. Because they're still playing league on the big TV. So you're going to find the next one. But it was awesome.
They played replays of league before they played AFL in some Sydney
At
pubs,
one point, the pub,
suburbs.
I was watching Essendon and Melbourne. We missed the third quarter because the TV just cut out of AFL Fox Footy. It was just gone. It's like, what the hell, man? We're watching it on my phone at one point. It was just ridiculous. But still, it was a very sort of fun way of there's zero interest in Sydney, at least the pubs that I was in, but I was in just some rando pubs that I wandered into. I should have actually gone. Here's the thing. I should have gone to more pubs to get more of a sort of, sample size.
I'll be honest, Jim. I'm a little bit disappointed that you didn't.
I went to a lot.
I thought more of you than that. But
I did go to a lot of pubs in 2 days. It was a fair whack. But it was still very cool watching it, because you get these smatterings of footy fans are watching, and obviously the Swans didn't play until later that afternoon, and by that time I was at the airport. So, I sort of missed at least getting a bit of a vibe for. You could see the Swans preparations were there. There was lots of Swans-ish pubs up and about and getting ready. So it would have been kind of neat to stick around. But I had to come home at some point. So here we are. Otherwise,
got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and I think injuries were the big sort of news in the last 2 days as well. It's been a litany of injuries. You got Dev Robertson doing
us.
The ACL for Dev Robertson.
Sad.
That sucks. He's the big rig. Had been playing really, really well for the Eagles. He's got a chance. He gets to strut his stuff outside of Brisbane, and boom, does the ACL. That sucks. Noah Anderson had, I don't know if he and Joel Embiid are the same person, but they both had appendectomies out of absolutely nowhere. So I don't know if he's had a gut ache for the last couple of weeks, which is why he's had a slow start to the year, but geez.
Would make sense.
That's no good.
He's definitely not looked right the last couple. Definitely Saturday he wasn't great. So
not at all.
I guess it could be. Sucks.
Aaron Norton hurt his hand. We don't have too much of a follow-up yet on that one, but didn't look great. I mean, Cripper actually hurt his hand a little bit too, and was sort of it was already strapped, so that was a bit of a strange one. They haven't heard hide nor hear about that either. But Ed Richards came back, actually played as well. So we saw, last week, and you're like, oh, he's done for at least a little bit. No, they went, he's fine. And then he got hurt again.
And then he wasn't.
So that's...
Yeah, maybe brought him back a little bit early.
Maybe. Still, that sucks for Ed Richards. Mabior came off with a hammy. He's out for at least 4 to 6 weeks. He was straight onto the back bench as well, wasn't he? That was a real quick one. Poor Mabior. Zorko's out 2 to 3 weeks with a calf. And
it's going to get harder to come back from the older you get.
And
the old man's injury.
Also, maybe on report for the whack to Paul Curtis's, family jewels. I don't know. That's
he never ceases to to amaze you with the stuff he will do.
Dane's
You
Orca.
gotta
Never
you
stopped.
either love him or you hate him. You want him on your team. Maybe not in the change room. You probably want him to just shut up and go home early. But those kind of serial pests you love to have on your team, because if they're not, you absolutely hate them. But I like Dane Zorko. I can see he'd be an absolute. Probably been punched a lot by teammates in the past. So
With a big grin on his face as he's being held up against a locker, that kind of vibe. Yeah. Connor Buderick's out 2 to 3 weeks as well. It looks like too for the
that's
Dogs.
going to hurt for the Dogs.
Sucks. They just can't avoid this injury bug. And you've got Lukosius out 4 to 6 weeks as well. Like with a strange, it was like was it a hammy or something that had sort of been a problem for him coming into the season, and it's like sort of flared up, and they're like, all right, he's going to take 2 months off.
I think he's had back problems.
That's what it was. Back for Lukosius.
So I think the hammy back, all that sort of stuff is kind of related for him, and he just hasn't had he looked awesome at the Gold Coast in his last year, and then he buggered off to Port Adelaide, and he just hasn't had a run at it. So it'd be good to see. He's clearly got talent, but he might be one of those ones that we're talking about in years to come that say, I wonder what he could have been like if he didn't get injured.
Yeah. Well, as a medical,
it's sad.
As a medical doctor, the backbone's connected to the ham bone.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
And yeah, it tracks. We had a couple of tough concussions for the Giants as well. Aaron Cadman kicked 3 goals in the first quarter and copped a heavy knock. He kicked another goal in the game, but then, copped a big whack. The worst one was Caniglio. He got absolutely yammed up, and it was like basically what, a knee to the face, and you're like, that hurt. Oh, so
ouch. Yeah,
they're both done.
Great.
Both done for a little bit. At least the Blues will get a couple of guys back this week, though, from concussion, which is kind of nice. And Steel Sidebottom's out for this week as well with a hip pointer. So I'll take that. Noted Carlton killer, Steel Sidebottom. Right. Let's talk about some of these games. Gather round. Adelaide beat the Blues. Who was surprised there? I don't know. But the big thing was 114 to 86. The Blues didn't get completely obliterated. But mostly it was because they got off to a hugely awesome start and then got killed in the second quarter. So they didn't wait till the second half to let us all down. It was already over by halftime. You're like, oh, well, that'll do, pig. That'll do. And the biggest thing I took away from Rochelle was amazing. Tex Walker was absolutely awesome and unstoppable for the first couple of quarters. The Crows, though, as the Blues were sort of having their way with them, again, in the exact same way the Blues are always going to have their way with them, is like, hey, scoring from stoppages and getting the ball, and oh, look at that, Sam Walsh is unstoppable, and so is Cripps. And then Voss pulls the master coaching stroke of putting Cripps to the bench at the start of the second quarter, where they get absolutely steamrolled with a little bit of a help from the umpires, but still. You sort of have this moment of like the Crows' second quarter was absolutely amazing. They just obliterated Carlton. And then the rest of the game was a bit, like if it was a little bit cue in the rack, and then the Blues had like a little bit of a chance to fight back, and then it all fell short with the was it the throw and then the missed free kick the other way for Carlton. And look, oh man, it got ugly on the internet.
It kind of the game just ground to a halt at half time. Like the weather was horrible. Like I would have probably just said, nah, me hammy's hurt and stayed in if that was me. But it's like they all looked out there and went, oh, that's what's that stuff? Oh, it's right. No, we don't. That's not my contract. No. But it was really odd. Both teams kind of stopped and they just sort of did what they had to get through. And it wasn't really the spectacle you would hope for Gather Round, was it? Well,
the first quarter was absolutely awesome, right? Like it was just back and forth. You're like, hell yeah, this rocks. And then
the second quarter was the same because you knew it was going to come. Yeah.
And then, I mean, look, the umpiring, I'm never going to get too bent out of shape about the umpiring, but the throw in front of goal was pretty amazing.
It's pretty ordinary.
And then I think getting the arc was then used on the shin to, was it Newman's? Yeah, the handball to Newman's shin. So now we're using arc on out of bounds inside the 50 and not for a throw in front
Why
of
do we
goal.
need umpires?
I don't know.
Let's just let the arc do it.
It was crazy. So, strange game. Blues looked all right for a minute. Rochelle, though, just not being able to stop him or stymie him in any way, shape or form. It was like 46-39 after the first quarter. It was awesome. And then, the Crows kicked 6 goals in the second quarter to 1 and the game was over. So,
the Crows are still not back. Like they've still got a fair bit to go, but I think it's a win they probably needed and should have had.
Yep. Collingwood Freo was basically the first quarter score in Adelaide Carlton was more than this entire game. So, as I said, Adelaide 39, Carlton 46 in the first quarter of Thursday night. Friday's entire game was 39-45 to the Dockers. And this was a rough watch. I watched the second half in a pub in Sydney, having gotten out of the Opera House, having watched Tism, going, I need to find somewhere to watch the footy. And then I went, I didn't have to really rush. This is not football.
I actually fell asleep on the couch at halftime and didn't even know the result till I woke up in the morning. Nice. It was that bad. I had zero. I couldn't tell you what happened. The only thing, the biggest thing I noticed from this game is that Bo McCreary's cut his hair.
Oh.
He now no longer has the long, lovely locks that he rolls up into the man bun. That was my big takeaway from this game. That's how bad it was.
DeGoey also left with a concussion as well, didn't he? So he's out for the Blues game too. So bit going on there. But the story here was like the sort of topsy-turvy. There you go, topsy-turvy.
Yeah.
Fourth
I think
quarter.
You were tipsy-turvy trying to watch it,
but
it's topsy-turvy.
It was pretty fun. Actually, a couple of the old blokes in that pub while they're watching it, they were standing there in front of the TV and, giving it the old Sydney wobble there a couple of times. I love that. But this was an amazing comeback from Freo because they were down in the fourth quarter until the giant missed goal and then the go-ahead goal from Johnson. It was huge, and the Pies just couldn't peg it back at the very end. And, to kick 2 goals out of a game that had, 12 total in the very last few minutes was awesome by Freo. And, it felt like the sort of worm turning a little bit on the Pies, winning all these close games. But I just want you to remember this game when any time someone says, there's too much scoring now in footy, it's like basketball. Just show them this game and go, you want that? Is that
this
good?
What you want? Yeah. No, thanks.
But huge win for Freo. Good on them because, especially in a neutral venue, I think that's to get a win over Collingwood where you don't have to play the Pies at the G. Freo have got to feel
it's a big win.
Pretty good about that one, I reckon. Right, like it's to actually come away with it. They're now 4-1, and it sort of sends Collingwood down to 2 and 3. That was huge. But I'll talk about.
Is that what you would call an 8-point game, Jim?
Oh, I love a good 8-point game. I
How
love
good's
an
8-point game.
It's like that doesn't exist.
It's the win they needed to have. They had to start winning these scrappy games against teams that, when it gets to this point, they would normally roll over and show their belly to. So, I think it's really good. It's going to be a very important win for them as the season goes. So,
Defo.
Looking good, Freo.
Yep. Then we move to the Barossa for North Melbourne, Brisbane. Awesome game. Valiant from the Roos. Valiant. I love a good Valiant loss. 92-66. The Roos were sort of in this for a lot of it. And like the Lions, I don't know, just this is the premiership metal, isn't it? Where it's just they were that good and that composed, I guess, throughout the game that they sort of just pulled away. And like the Roos led at the half, and like you sort of never really stressed too much about Brisbane, and this is kind of what they do. 5 goals in the third quarter, off they go, take the lead, never look back. And I mean,
they did the same thing to St Kilda a few weeks ago.
That's it.
Where they just sort of, just cruised along but somewhere between first and second gear, and then when it mattered, they just put the foot down and said, "Nah, see yous." They
were there, like the Roos were right there with them for like the vast majority, like that second half. Like it never blew out, but then you never felt like the Lions were completely, I don't know, panicky or anything, and they sort of just eked it out with those last couple of goals. It was the Rayner one, which was really sort of the settler, wasn't it? And then I think Bailey had the one that sort of clinched it all. But it was like a pretty wild one. But my favourite thing, I think, from this one was the combination of the jerseys.
Oh,
those North jerseys with the big
dream
root,
jersey matchup.
and then you got the Lions, which is like the old Fitzroy sort of, the orange, blue, and gold. Loved it. Like the Roos one kind of
was it?
feels like I feel like they've got better alternates, but that was still a pretty good one. I think you posted the all the alternate jerseys for the weekend.
Yeah.
And I did love that Roos one, so that was awesome. Happy with that.
That was my favourite of the weekend. I think a few comments on there that really enjoyed some of the other jerseys. The West Coast Eagles one, which we'll get to, that was pretty sick. The old throwback.
Yep.
But yeah, I something about a black on black with that blue through it. So it gave me that NFL feel.
Yep.
When with the Lions and the Panthers and that sort of thing, when they have their black alternates, which look really cool against a red and yellow team. If you think of the Lions against KC, for example, that'd be a sick matchup when they've got their black and blue ones. So yeah, it was awesome matchup. Love it.
Yep. It was a very cool one. I like it. It's just give me some really big standout primary colours and we're laughing.
And I love that old Fitzroy jersey. That's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if it's got a bad matchup either, right? Like it always looks awesome. Like I think I've got a feeling that's the one that they probably wore against Collingwood 2 years ago in the grand final that they might have lost, but it was still an amazing jersey matchup. Yeah. Anyway, right. Lachie Neale was also really good in that game, so good on him. Back to Adelaide Oval. Pretty close game, this one. And then it wasn't. Essendon 113, the Melbourne Demons 68. Take it away, yes!
Here we have the Gather Round Cup, undefeated at Gather Round. So you can see it's all personalised, just in case you can't see there. Yep. So this game was on, and I was actually up in Skipton outside of Ballarat, for those of you who don't know, watching my son play in their first game of the year. And they were also going very, very well, beating the reigning premiers by quite a bit. And I'm following along on my phone, and I'm like, hang on a minute, we're ahead. Quarter time, we're ahead, and watch a bit more, get to halftime. Here we go. Melbourne have come. They've turned up finally. Anyway, so I got into the game. As country footy provides a bit of entertainment with some scraps and whatnot, and a bit of banter from over the fence. So got involved in that, as it'd be rude not to. Then I had a look at my phone, and we're up by 40 points, and it's the fourth quarter. And I started walking around. My son's team's won. They beat the Bombers. It was the best. It was so good. I was just walking on air. So I had to get up early the next day and watch the whole thing. So normally when I miss a game, Jim, I'll watch the mini and read up on it. But this one, I'm watching the whole thing. I nearly watched it twice. I was that excited. So, but I think the biggest takeaway from this is that it was the kids again. It wasn't just the old guys. Brad Scott actually made some changes that swung the game. He put in Peter Wright in the ruck against, and you know my feelings on Peter Wright, but putting him in the ruck against Max Gawn with that extra height to compete in the bounce was brilliant. I wouldn't say it was absolute genius, but he's got one right there, and that allowed them to put Blackiston down back and that extra tall down back. The way he's been attacking the footy since we picked him up last year. It was too much for Melbourne's makeshift forward line, who are looking more and more out of form as the weeks go on. So, but the young kids again were great. Archie Roberts, what a star, 42 disposals. Jacob Farrow was the rising star for this week, which is, I've nominated him in previous weeks as a superstar already, and I'm sticking to my guns, Jim. Everything's coming up Essendon this week. So. But yeah, it was really good. The Kako, I thought the role that Andy McGrath did on Cozzy Pickett, which he was still one of their best, but he didn't have the influence that he has had in their wins. And what I did notice, and they did make mention of it on the commentary, was that Kako was in there alongside them, and you could see he was starting to do some of the things that Cozzy Pickett does, which is awesome. That's what you want from your first and second year players, to be able to pick things up from the best in the league. And I've been really impressed with Kako. Caddy again, he's chaos, and I love it. So Archie May kicked a couple of goals. I don't know. I couldn't pick anyone out. Even Ben Mackay was good. I actually had to work for Spud of the Week this week. So, as you can tell, Jim, I was pretty happy with the result.
I have never been more angry as well because I'm like, where was this effort from the Demons 2 weeks ago when they just kicked the absolute bejesus out of the Blues? I'm just like, come on, man. Are you serious? Like, they completely capitulated. They got no help. Like, Gawn and Cozzy sort of still doing their stuff, but, like, it was just that lack of everything else from everybody else. And the Bombers, like, there was a moment, there was, like, a couple of just, I don't know, the Demons, I think, had got a couple of goals in the second quarter.
Yeah.
And I think Archer May kicked a goal halfway through about the second. And like the way that it sort of actually occurred was just such a really good counterpunch. You're like, ooh, I didn't expect that. And I don't think Melbourne expected that. And it felt 100% like a case of like looking forward to the week after going, yeah, we're good for Essendon. A bit fart smelly, I think, on Demons.
The way the Bombers celebrated as well, they looked different. They actually looked like they were enjoying themselves. Like Zach Merritt, goal of the year, that was unreal. But the way he got up and celebrated after was what makes you think, hang on, something's changed, and maybe there is a little bit of hope for the future coming up. So I was pleasantly surprised. I think it's right that we haven't actually lost at Gather Round, so I'm very keen for it to continue and continue to play Melbourne at Gather Round while we definitely haven't lost to Melbourne, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm probably wrong, but I could look it up, but I'm just going to roll with it. We haven't lost at Gather Round. Prove me, come at me.
That's a really good question. I was at a Port Essendon game on two Gather Rounds ago on the Friday, I want to say. That was pretty crazy and very, very, very fun. I can't actually remember who won that, though. So there you go. Anyway, that was a really, really fun game. Go the Bombers, I guess. 323 days, 17 rounds of football. And they end a losing streak. You don't snap a losing streak. You end a losing streak. Just saying. That's one for the journalists out there.
We started a winning streak.
Speaking of winning streaks, Sydney are never going to lose again. 100, Gold Coast 68. The Suns looked not great.
Yes.
Ben King, I don't know, they played this game on Norwood, and we sort of hit on this last week, right? Like previewing games for at Norwood, it's like, all right, what does this mean? It means an absolute just plethora of contested footy and a lot of just in the guts, scramble. The ball pops clear. You're sort of just hoping one of your dudes is on the end of it a lot of the time. That's exactly what this game sort of felt like. And I don't know, like the Swans just absolutely out-muscled the Suns. As I'm watching this, like, I don't know, between Amadi Party and Charlie Curnow, this could have been an absolute whipping. Instead, it was merely a belting. So 32 points in the end. 14-16 the Swans kicked to 9-14 for the Suns. The win does hit a bit weird. It looked a bit scrappy there, but I mean, chaos game. Heaney was absolutely off his head, and the Suns just never had the space or the time really to do much. And you sort of felt like this should be the sort of Matt Rowell took Miller game, and they did get plenty of the pill, but they just didn't control the contest. That was what Sydney did. So, yeah, just too many good dudes on the Swans, and they will never lose again. Simple as that, Jez.
Can't argue with that.
Best team I've ever seen.
I think Gold Coast, I don't know what's going on there, but even Ben King, who's been pretty good in every game, he was very quiet. I think he had 2 goals, 1 from 5 disposals, which is well down on his first few weeks. The on-ballers aren't getting the clearances. The ruck isn't, they tried Mac Andrew in there and that didn't really work. So there's a few players there that are, that have started the year with big tags and seemingly have enhanced their reputation. That the last couple of weeks when the heat's been on, they haven't performed. So I think there might be mouthguards at training this week from Dimmer. So maybe a bit of an old school approach. So see what happens.
I'm just saying, the 28th parallel, undefeated.
Yep.
This is what happens. They play in Adelaide. It's below the 28th parallel. Boom. What happens? They lose. That's why I ended up picking Sydney in the end last week.
They need to play Essendon or Carlton in Melbourne.
Well, I think they're done in Melbourne at the MCG for the season, aren't they? And I think...
Yeah, I think they've got Carlton. Well, we've actually got them this week, but it's up there.
Yep.
But I think they play Carlton at Marvel, don't they?
They've got a Blues game
June
down
or
here,
something like that.
which I'll probably rock up to in a Suns jersey, just saying. Jeez. Hawthorn 104, Dogs 64. It wasn't that close. And that's 40 points. So this was 100% an absolute laugher by the second quarter.
Yeah.
Like, because the Dogs kicked 4 points in the second quarter. So it's 47-19. And by that point, like, the Dogs sort of made it a bit of a game, but then just another 5 goals in the fourth quarter from the Hawks just put it absolutely to bed. Because there was a minute there where it's like they pulled it back to around 20 or whatever, the Dogs, and you're like, ooh, look out, here we go. But they just sort of didn't take advantage of, I don't know, a bit more run of it. No Marbio. Mitch Lewis was massive for them. The ruck battle was an absolute demo with no Tinglish in there for the Dogs. I think the hitouts were 64 to like 17 or something like that. So, yeah.
I think Ned Reeves had 4 disposals and he definitely kicked 1, but might have kicked 2 goals and had 40 hitouts.
1 goal so and he was 40 hitouts. Just Jesus.
And from 4 disposals, that's crazy. But yeah, the Dogs couldn't get near them in the ruck, and that's going to be a problem for them until Tinglish comes back. So I expect that if it continues the way it has for the Dogs with the injuries, because I think there's Aaron Norton obviously is doubtful. They've lost Ed Richards. Treloar's still out. They've still got a couple of other guys out. Liberatore is out. I'm not sure when he's due back.
I think he's questionable to come back this week, so maybe he comes back and they're feeling a bit better. Treloar hopefully comes back in the next couple of weeks. You just don't know with him, so yeah. But
they're really struggling to get the ball out and down forward at any kind of consistency. Like Darcy struggled because they just couldn't get the ball to him. Bont was well held on the weekend. He didn't have his influence that he has had, even against us the week before when we won the last 3 quarters, he was still their best player. The young guys on Saturday were just, they took the night off almost. So hopefully for the Dogs, they can sort of battle through this and come. There's always, we said it, there was always going to be a period where things don't go their way, and it's how they respond to that in the past that has sort of defined their season. So if they can work out a way to right this current, you wouldn't call it slump, but whatever it is that they're in at the moment with their injuries and whatnot, you sort of hope that they do so they can be competitive, because at their best, they're awesome. Yeah. And I would have really loved them to be at their best against Hawks, how they are at the moment, because I reckon we would have had an absolute belter. Hopefully they play again later in the year. Because
it certainly felt like at the very start, like they came out guns blazing, and then it just stopped dead, and the Hawks ran over the top of them, which is terrifying for everybody else. Because I don't know, the Hawks when they're up and about, it's just I don't know.
Yeah, it's a worry.
Anyway, Geelong 122, West Coast 76. Eagles were kind of close in those nice jerseys, and then they were not. And then, I don't know, it never got really too chaotic though. So that was good, I guess, for the Eagles, but it's still a pretty big one. Like the Eagle, like it was like close the first quarter and a half, and then the Cats just piled it on and piled it on and piled it on and kept piling it on. You're like, yeah, oh well. So this is the problem.
I think it was the last 7 minutes of the second quarter they pumped on about 3 or 4 goals, might have even been 5.
Yep.
And it was just basically that was it, game over from there. And I think the Eagles fought back a little bit and just sort of held it to that margin. It's still a young squad, again, impacted by injuries, which, Dev Robertson out sucks. But if you look at a lot of their main ball winners and stuff, aside from Tim Kelly, who was pretty good against his old team, they're still so young, and they're going to have these. At least it wasn't another 130-point drubbing. So I guess there's a positive there that they managed to, bounce back for at least a quarter and a half. So
This was another one at Norwood, but it sort of didn't seem to really bother the Cats too much, which was pretty good. It was sort of slow going.
The Geelong Skilled Stadium, Cardinia Park, whatever you want to call it, has a similar, it's not the same obviously, but it has those narrow pockets as well. So I'd say that if anyone was going to play well there, it's going to be them. So out of any team, aside from obviously Norwood. The Cats would probably enjoy that type and basically being at a wind tunnel out in the middle of nowhere like their home ground is, they probably would have felt a little bit at home out at Norwood rather than at Adelaide Oval where there's a crowd and
suburban ground,
and all that
10,000 and away you go.
People talking quickly and whatnot.
And then out at the Barossa, GWS kill the Tigers 131-75. Just a smashing from the get-go. The Tigers sort of just never could kind of keep up. They got back into it in that third quarter a little bit, but just don't quite have the horses, obviously. And GWS, despite losing a couple of dudes, copped it pretty rough. They were up 52-14 after the first quarter, and you're like, it's one of them. Yep, sure.
Yeah, I think they fought back to within 20, like you said, 20 points at one stage, but I don't think GWS were ever troubled.
No. Like getting Brent Daniels and all the dude like Cadman, and they just went bang bang straight away as well. So it was good for good settling win for GWS. And then finally, to wrap it all up on Gather Round, Port Adelaide finish it off and get, I don't know, sort of handled in a really strange game by these Saints, 81-67. It's wet, it's gross. It was just a real... at times it felt like an arm wrestle, and then you just this is just a mud fight, and it's just not that much of a fun game to watch at times. It was a real strange one because you're like, oh, it's pretty close, and then you're like, it never felt like Port were really going to sort of peg it all back and run over the top of them until they sort of started doing that at the end of the third quarter, and then it just sort of plateaued for the vast majority of the fourth quarter.
Got real ordinary real quick.
And then the Saints got that Jack Silvani goal with his busted head. Jay Sauce out there in front of Joe Silvani and Steve Silvani up in the stands, kicks his first goal as a traitor. But still...
didn't pull out this one for...
Didn't. But...
Okay, I'm going to leave that one alone.
It was the settler, and good on him. Philip Boo kicks one after that, and they just sort of put the way Port fought back into it to get within a sniff, and then just not being able to get over the hump. It sort of feels like this is just Port Adelaide in a bottle, right? Like the Horn Francis goal at the end sort of gave them a little bit of a chance. They just couldn't get enough of the pill, and that was it. So, bit of a weird one. If you're a Port fan, you just sort of feel disconsolate, right? You just be like, oh man. Are we good?
I don't know.
I
think it's just purely St Kilda that made this a contest, because we know that when they're on, they can demolish a team, but we haven't seen it yet. And I think they're just starting to do enough to beat the teams that they probably should be smashing. And I thought Port were one of those, but they've just creeped over the line, and it wasn't a great performance by either team. I think in the notes you've wrote, loved the Port jumper. That pretty much sums it up, because that's the highlight of the game was the Port jumper. The Saints jumper was horrible. It's like somebody went out and just sort of slapped a bit of MS Paint on there and said, oh, that'll do. That looks like a cross between a Pokemon card and a... I don't even know what.
I can't remember if it was you or my buddy Weaves who messaged me and was like, it looks like a reverse card.
Yes.
I'm like,
absolutely.
Yes, it does. Whereas the Port jumper was beautiful. It's like, this is just, I love this. To the point where, I don't know, a bit of an Outback Takehouse. I kind of think what we should be doing for Gather Round or one of these other special rounds is either everyone's doing a throwback jersey. I think Throwback Week is an absolute must for the AFL. But the other one is, for something like Gather Round, perhaps each team is doing the exact sort of same thing as the Port Adelaide jumper that they were wearing, right? Just like the V straight down the front. But obviously you got clash jumpers, so maybe Carlton's white with the blue, navy blue V, and then Adelaide is, black with the red and yellow V. Have all the same jumpers for Gather Round, but just in the different sort of colorways. I think this could be a brilliant idea that I just came up with.
Agreed. So when I posted on the socials the jumper, I think it was 9 jumpers on there. The Essendon one, there was a lot of comments about, the Essendon's one red. When I actually saw them with the red shorts, I was like, I actually like it.
Yeah.
Like I would prefer it with the full red with the stripe, and I think Richmond have got the opportunity to do the same thing. And yeah, I don't like white jumpers. I reckon they're boring. I think similar to your thoughts with grey jerseys in the NBA, they're boring. Like I'd rather see a team go with a different colour. So Carlton, for example, it's going to be a bit hard, but bring back the old M&M's blue,
the bright blue,
or the bright blue. Bring out the Hawks. Bring back the diamond jumper.
Was it the Saints in the bright yellow? I think that was another. Yeah. Was that even another M&M's one? Maybe, but yeah,
it might have been the Kangaroos with the orange and white back in at some point. But yeah,
so
love it.
That was Gather Round. Let's do some awards. Gablett Areas. Ooh. Best on ground of the week. Who was it? I've got two. Mitch Lewis, who was absolutely massive for the Hawks, set the tone early, was basically unstoppable between he and Gunston early, and really sort of just wrested the game away from the Dogs, and they had no answer. I mean, he didn't do a giant amount, basically the back half of the game. His work was done. The other one was Heen-Man. Heen-Man. Isaac Heaney was massive in that game for the Suns, and he might... We have this discussion around this sort of time each year as well. It's like, wait a minute, who's the best player? Who's the best player at footy? And every so often you'll see Isaac Heaney just play a game, and you're like, I think it might be Isaac Heaney. And yeah, he just reminds you every so often that he might be the best at footy. Especially with Nick Dacos, still dealing with a corky, but anyway.
He was still, even in an ordinary game, he was still pretty good.
What did He-Man have? Heaney had 33 and 2 goals and was just absolutely massive. So.
Yeah, he was unreal. And I think going on, there was not last year, the year before, when he was the favourite for the Brownlow but got suspended.
Yep.
I don't think he ended up polling that many votes, but he's always seemed to be just thereabouts, but either an injury or suspension or a run of 3 or 4 games where he's not bad but not, outstanding as he can be. I think maybe this is the year. He's obviously missed one from injury, but if he can have a pretty good run and the way they're playing at the moment, he's been a big part of it. So maybe a best bet coming up.
Yep, he's awesome. Tracy gets an honourable mention as well for that mark against the Pies in the pouring rain. Jamie Billy Elliott set to soar, take an absolute game-winning mark, going back, kicking up. Tracy goes, no, that's mine. Clunks it. Absolute Leo Barry, you star sort of
Josh Tracy.
Moments. Josh Tracy just dropping back, goes whack. That was awesome. So huge moment from the weekend. Who have you got there, Jez, for your Gablett Areas?
Oh, it's pretty hard for me to... Archie Roberts. 42 disposals and a goal for the Bombers. He was everywhere. He had 37 the week before against the Dogs and was pretty good. But, Archie was on fire. And to be honest, I could sit here and go through all of the Bombers players and give them all a mention. And if we had time, I probably would. And I could probably do another episode where I just rate them all. But
I like it.
I was really happy with a lot of them. But, Archie Roberts, can't go past Archie Roberts for my beloved Bombers.
I don't mind this as the Footy Unfilterated spin-off where it's just Jez Unfilterated and it's just you going through every single Bomber player and rating their performance on the weekend.
If we win against the Gold Coast, I might do it. I might be very drunk.
What are they doing every time they Jez watches the Bombers? Oh,
I had an excitement quiver. I get very excited about things and I do that.
He does that.
I was doing that a lot, watching the replay.
Who are we buying a beer this week? Ben Ainsworth, just because he got absolutely deleted, put in the dirt by Jordan Dawson, who then kicked the goal. The rest of the game from that point onwards was over because Ainsworth got killed. So, I think I'm going to go buy him a beer. It was a rough one.
Might need something a little bit stronger.
You hate it when it happens to your team as well because you're just like, oh no. It's like you're watching the kid fall off the bike or something. You're like,
Try not to laugh audibly.
Yeah, it's tough. Ainsworth looked awesome early as well. He kicked 2 goals. You're like, yes, that's the way to use a small... Oh, no, they've changed it all and Voss is now sat grips. Fantastic work. Anyway, who are you buying a beer there, Jez?
Well, aside from Brad Scott, I'm going to buy a beer for, and I'm sure he probably already had one, for a bloke named Clint Rule. So I'm not sure if you saw this, but there was a fella who went to the, and my dog, he agrees with me here, but there was a fella who went to the Essendon and Melbourne match at Adelaide Oval, and he decided he'd have a bit of fun, and he made a banner. And I'm just going to bring this banner up. So the banner says, "I don't particularly like either side," which I think is hilarious.
Yep.
Now, he was told by security, aka the fun police, that he was to take the banner down and pop it in the cloakroom. So instead of doing so, Clint decided he'd leave in protest. He'd made a Facebook post about it earlier in the day, and Peter Malinowskis, who's another fella I would happily buy a beer for, but I'm sure he's got plenty of people doing that. Premier Peter Malinowskis, the man who came up with this gather round, if you ask him, he found out about it and basically got him into a later game and had him as a guest. And I think on the later game, you'll see him in the footage with Andrew Dillon and the rest of the AFL bigwigs. And yeah, he had 2 tickets to the President's Lounge. So ended up having a really good day out of it, all because the fun police decided to poke their heads in and try to cancel everyone. So, but I just think that is so funny. And I reckon everyone there, and he did, I listened to an interview with him earlier, and everyone around him said that it was, great. And that's exactly what I would do if I was going to a game that I didn't support either team. That's my attitude, is I don't actually like either team. I just want to see both fans cry. And the fact that he put it on a banner was just brilliant. There's no harm in it. Why are we trying to kill fun wherever we can?
I think that's the sort of thing with banners. Like because I feel like he was standing sort of in front of the members bit. He was on the hill at one point as well, right? And so, like, you're on the hill. Like, the banner, you're not sitting in your seats. It's not in your face the entire time. Just sometimes common sense just needs to prevail and go, that's fine, like, whatever.
The photo I saw, there was no one behind him either. So it wouldn't have been from complaints. It would have just been someone going, no, I don't like the look of that. So get him out. So.
Yeah. I'll pay that. Yeah, I love that.
Beer from me.
He then got, he was, supping on some
Wined
of that.
and dined.
He was absolutely wined and dined with the AFL bigwig, so I don't think he needs a beer from us, but that was awesome. The Ben Mackay Spud of the Week award goes to this week's Ben Mackay, which is Lewis Young. I think at one point I tweeted out, many people would ask, what does Lewis Young do? And they'd be right. Because
have you got an answer?
There is no answer. Like, that's why they'd be right, just to ask, what does he do? He usually gives away free kicks and, I don't know, has a shocker. No Jacob Wiedering obviously killed the Blues, and just Lewis Young got absolutely smash-marated. But my favourite Spud of the Week is another former Blue, Charlie. I miss screaming Charlie. I loved him. But watching him go 0 for 4 as a Swan at Norwood and just miss the easiest goal, I think, maybe this year, unless you got a direct in-front shot. He's like 8 meters out on a slight angle, goes around the corner and balloons it into someone's backyard in Norwood. It's one of the most egregious misses you'll ever see. And I don't know, bit Spud-worthy. Honourable mention, Michael Voss. Cripps coming out and going, yeah, look, I might sit on the pine at the start of the second quarter of this week. It's like, don't encourage him, Cripps. You're not, as a parent, and Cripps is now a parent, I think we all learn, right? You don't encourage bad behaviour. You try to, steer them away from it. Don't encourage him, Cripps. He'll just do it again. It's like the squid taking off his nappy and slinging around his head. Don't do that, you idiot. You're going to get just crap everywhere. No. Get your hands out of your nappy right now. That sort of vibe. Voss, get your hands out your nappy. Anyway, who have you got for the Ben Mackay Spud of the Week award there, Jez?
Well, I've got a couple of, maybe we'll say honourable mentions. There was a young fella, Jonty Fall, in his second year, and maybe he's a bit too young, but he did only have 2 possessions in 75% of game time. I'll give him a pass because he is being, he's being asked to do quite a bit in that forward line with not much else to work with. So we'll give him a pass, but you'd like to see a little bit more than 2 possessions, even though they did get smashed in 75% of game time. But so a dishonourable mention there. These other two that I've listed, I can't really split them. Your mate TDK, for a bloke on so much money to get beaten up basically by Jordan Sweet. Him and Rowan Marshall were both taken to task by Jordan Sweet, who I think he had about 40 hitouts to maybe 15 each for Marshall and TDK had 9 disposals. So I know they had a win, but I don't know. If I was a Saints fan, I'd be wanting to see a lot more out of TDK. So he's number 1, and I couldn't split him from Paddy Voss. So he, for a bloke who likes to prance around like he's the second coming of Wayne Carey, I think he needs to probably worry about his own game a little bit more than he worries about some others. There was a report actually, and I saw this after I listed him. It came out about the antics that we've seen from him this year in a few games, especially the Melbourne game where he was carrying on like a pork chop. Might have been the reason why Essendon let him go. So it's easy to say that now, but you know, at the same time, we probably don't need any more distractions around Essendon at the moment. So maybe there might be a little bit more sort of truth to that rumour than you would have thought. But yeah, for me, him and TDK, they can be the Ben Mackay Spuds for this week.
Yeah, the TDK Rowan Marshall thing, it's very, very reminiscent of TDK and our man Pitto, where it's the built-in redundancy of the two bigs just never seemed to work properly. And like TDK by himself always felt like much more of a weapon. His speed around the ground was huge. And I mean, you could send him forward at some points, whatever. It never quite worked as well. And you're sort of seeing that now, I reckon, it's a Kilda. And it was always kind of going to be the way, right? Like Rowan Marshall always felt superfluous to needs after they got TDK and paid him that much money.
I think TDK is very much obviously a modernised version in that he likes to do the whole lot himself, sort of like Todd Goldstein. I remember North would try and have a second ruck, and I think they had Braden Pruce and there's a couple of others that come through. But whenever they went with that, Todd Goldstein's his effect on the game would drop away. And then as soon as he was left out there on his own, he would dominate.
Well, it's Gawn and Grundy, right? Same thing.
Yeah, well, exactly right. Yeah, so they both like to be the man and the number one man with you know, maybe a pinch hitter to help them out. So, and maybe that's, you know, look, you don't wish injury upon anyone, but maybe an injury to one or the other might help them in that department. But I think at the end of the season, we might see a trade involving Rowan Marshall.
Rowan Marshall, you are a Geelong cat. Better than Bootsma.
Here's a farm.
Here's a farm. Here's a cotton on. Here you go. You like hoodies? Let's go. Better than Bootsma. For me this week, Cooper Trembath took maybe the mark of the year.
What a hanger.
He was awesome.
Great.
That dude is electric. I love watching him, especially in those jerseys. You're like, yes, mate. This just sign me up. This is awesome. And Job Shanahan, FYI, again, he popped up a couple of weeks ago for
4 goals
for the Eagles. Kicked 4 in this game. He's just, I like the way he goes about it. But there's a couple of like dudes on that Eagles team that I really enjoy watching as you watch them get their heads kicked in. But you watch Dersma, you watch whoa, Harley Reid, bam, balam. You watch Job Shanahan. I obviously love the J Train, Jakey Waterman, but Job Shanahan, just saying, better than Bootsma.
Yep.
Who have you got, Jez?
Another bomber, surprise, surprise. But Elijah Sardis. So he's much maligned. He's a pick 5 from a few years ago. Spent a lot of time in the Magoos. The biggest knock on him, and it's still there, is his disposal. And I know there was a couple of moments on Saturday where his disposal wasn't up to scratch. But the thing is, he gets the footy, and from all reports, he's been working his butt off to try and correct it. So, which I like. And I think at this point, like, he had 29 and a goal. I think they just got to stick with him, and you know, he gets the footy. He's worked on all the other aspects of his game. His kicking still average when under pressure, but at the same time, it's not as if we're setting the world on fire with our disposal as a team anyway. So they might as well stick with him and see where he can go. And at the very least, if he's one of those players that averages 25 to 30 a game with a disposal efficiency of 60, say, for example, he's at least showing his worth so we can maybe move him on and get something for him. But I really like the way he goes about it anyway. I've been really disappointed that he hasn't had more of an opportunity. So I was really glad to see him out there and having an impact. He actually played a good part in the win. So I was happy to see that.
That's awesome.
And to be honest, the better than Bootsma, Archie Roberts is only 20 years old.
He's awesome.
So how good is it? Like, I'm excited.
Jacob
I'm
Farrow.
excited. Get that quiver going.
Oh, yeah.
Kako,
I have an
Caddy.
excitement quiver.
There we go. Farrow, Kako, Sardis, off you go.
It's looking good.
Right. I'm sober and crazy and I don't know what I'll do.
That's right. I'm sober and crazy and I don't know what I might do.
Yeah, nah, so let's do it. Can we shut up about moving, adding, doing different gather rounds now? Like, and also the sheer ridiculousness of people go, oh, gather round's not even for the people now. What are you talking about?
Oh, shut up.
It's, hotels are expensive. Yeah, no, it's called price gouging. The AFL didn't do that. Like, that's on the hotels. It's the airlines. Yes, the airline partner of the AFL should actually cap prices, I think, to Adelaide for gather round. They should have that worked out.
Yep.
But my God, this is like saying, oh, you know what? F1 used to be for the people, and then you go to like the Australian Grand Prix, and there's just heaps of people, and it's really expensive. You know what's really expensive? Going to the grand final. Jeez, I'll tell you what's getting expensive. Going to see a basketball game in the finals. Yeah. Popular things, guess what? They're expensive.
They're expensive.
Gather round.
You know what else is getting expensive? Diesel.
That's it. So you're probably going to have like a slight less, like the drop in numbers probably maybe this year. Like they're saying that they have the most crowds they've ever had to gather around, which is pretty funny considering that every game sells out. And it's like, but that's the most, or whatever. But again, with petrol prices the way they are, the sort of idea of convoying over there is not as fun as it is. But
I think they were giving away free diesel at some point or free fuel somewhere. I heard something about it. It was at one of the country towns along the way. It might have even been at the border. They were giving away X amount of free fuel as a bit of which is awesome. Good on them.
But this is it. Like, I think even Ralphie's jumped in with something stupid today. You've got other people out there going, gosh, is it just really corporated now? It's like, yeah, everything to do with the AFL is like corporatized. Like, and
it's a business.
Gather round is like just, the thing is when you're criticizing from afar, all you're seeing quite literally is the stuff that Fox Footy's showing you, the Channel 7's showing you. And guess what they've got? Sponsors to pay for their broadcasts. That's how that works. If you actually go there, the vibe is amazing. Like everybody is there for one thing. Footy. And it rocks. And so for people who haven't been there, who aren't there, to be like, you know what? It's just for people who are rich now. It's like, no, the people who are there love footy. Like, it's awesome. You don't go to South Australia because you know what? Oh, I just want to go to South Australia. Like, no one has really just gone, you know what's going to be awesome if we just went to South Australia, just go to Adelaide. Like, there's lots going on there. That's why Gather Round works. Adelaide has nothing else going on to stop you or get in your way of enjoying the footy. It's all ancillary and it's all additive because it's like there's some good pubs, there's some good food, there's wineries. But you know what? There isn't.
And it's all close together.
And there's no plethora of other stuff going on that I should do instead of going to watch the footy. Shut up, idiots. Gather Round is awesome. My Lord, can we just stop? This is a part of the AFL media industrial complex of whinging. You can't have a good thing without whinging about it. And we found a way to whinge about Gather Round. Can we just quit it with the whinging? And Finn. All right. No one's beating the Swans the rest of the year, Jez. Yeah, nah.
Yeah. I can't see many people getting the way they're going. Woo.
So
maybe the Hawks if they play the Hawks again.
They've lost to the Hawks, and apart from that, they've beaten the Lions. They smashed the Blues after that sort of first half. It was a bit of a scare. They absolutely obliterated the Eagles. Take care of the Suns. They now play the Giants in a derby this week. They've got the Dogs 2 weeks after that at Marvel, but this is a much lesser version of the Dogs that we're probably been used to the first 4 weeks of the season. They then host the D's. They play against the Roos at Marvel, which is always a danger game for the Swans. They host the Pies at the G. They go to GMHBA May 23 to take on the Cats. That could be awesome. I still think they could win. Then they've got Richmond at home. They've got St Kilda at home. They go to Port Adelaide. They go to Brisbane. They host the Dogs. They go to Freo. They host the Crom. Another derby. Saints in Marvel. Host Port. Visit Essendon. And then host the North Melbourne Kangaroos. There's one or two that feel a bit squirrely, but the Swans are that good, they're not losing any of them. Calling it, boom. 1 loss for the season.
I'm going to say nah, because clearly they're going to lose to Essendon. But
is Cozzy a Brownlow chance yet, Jez? What do you reckon? Yeah, nah.
Ooh. I'm going to say yeah. Although I think he probably, as good as he was, he probably wouldn't have got the max votes on the weekend because I think there was probably 3 Bombers ahead of him. But I think if Melbourne, it's going to depend on how Melbourne finish. I think if they can win maybe 10 games, he's a chance because he'll get a lot of 2 votes in the ones that they lose. But if they have the slide and end up sort of near where we kind of predicted them to and only win, say, 6, 7, maybe 8 games, I think he might struggle. But he's definitely going to be talked about. So I would say, yeah, just.
Yeah, he's on like the, I don't know, 3rd or 4th, 5th tier of the sort of favourites at the moment. But I feel like he's in the trajectory is correct. It's like a slow start because of, I don't know, he's not been playing in the guts the entire time. Now they're just like, nah, screw it. We'll just get him on the ball. And it's been awesome. I think the one that I do love, though, at the moment is probably Bailey Smith, right? Like with the simple idea of, I don't know, like he and Max Holmes are probably going to be splitting a lot of 2 and 3s, I think, for the Cats this year. But sometimes I think he stands out a little bit more than Max Holmes. Max Holmes is not a, I don't know, standout kind of guy. I love him.
Plus, they have the stats. So this is a thing that's going to have a big impact on the voting this year. Is that they're going to notice Bailey Smith, as you say, because he's more noticeable,
and he's got a headband.
And then they're going to go, he's got a headband, and they're going to go to the stats and go, no, Bailey had 40. Max might have had 34 and had more. Might have done all the tackling and all the stuff that Max Holmes does. But because Bailey Smith has a headband and had more disposals, they're going to go, we noticed him. He definitely best on ground.
I like that.
Yep. And that's going to have an impact all the way through every game.
Yep. All right, you've got a nah there as well.
I've got a couple, actually. I've got one here and then I've got a listener one that I forgot to mention earlier. But so the reviews of the lasso rule, which is a ridiculous name, are having a negative impact on the game. Nah.
It's meant to speed it up. And in that case, I'm sort of saying, nah, it's not having an impact on the game. But I don't know that it's speeding it up because it's creating more confusion. And I think there's this sort of, I think the way it's probably intended to work, right, is that if it gets near the boundary line in the same way you would in basketball, you're trying to keep the ball in bounds. But because it's kind of not last touch, but it's getting to almost last touch, it's meant to be last disposal.
Correct.
Right.
So my thing is the reviews.
And the reviews,
not the actual rule. I like the rule, and I witnessed it firsthand in local footy, and it worked really well for local footy on the weekend. But the actual reviewing of it at AFL level, which only seems to have come in since the Geelong and Adelaide game, and it was prevalent over the weekend, especially in the Adelaide. It seems to be an Adelaide game thing. Amazing. But in the Adelaide Carlton game, it had a massive impact. Now, they've brought this rule in to speed it up. And to be honest, before the reviews came in, I didn't really notice it. And it probably did help the game move. But since they've decided to review it every time it goes near there, and they're allowing players to ask for reviews now, which is absolutely ludicrous. It is having a negative impact in that it's slowing the game down more so than it did before we even had the friggin' rule.
Yeah, I think reviews, I don't think we need them. Like, it's really simple.
Yeah.
I think what we've seen with
100%
basketball
agree.
is that reviews slow everything back down. So that's the adverse effect to the ideal effect. And that's where you're going to run into the problems of slowing it back down, because there's the sheer problem of getting everything perfect rather than getting it good. And you don't need to be perfect, I think, in this sort of instance, because, you get into the argument of like, all right, well, if they're going to handball it off someone's shin and then review that, why aren't we reviewing a blatant throw directly in front of goal? Like, and then it becomes an either or, and it's just stupid. So I think just get rid of the review and just go keep the rule. It's fine, but it's onto the umpire. Simple as that. What was the other one?
Okay, so we've got a listener from David Klitsch, who's a Suns fan, and he's been pretty vocal on the comments, which is awesome. Thanks for the support, Dave. So he's actually done two here. So he sent this one at about 7 o'clock on Saturday night, and I'm going to out him here, but 5 games is sufficient evidence to start forecasting teams' performance for the year. I've been a Suns fan since day one, but based on the first 5 games, Gold Coast not only won't play finals, but won't even play the wildcard weekend.
Oh, no.
Yeah, nah. Now, this message came through on the Sunday night. And sorry, Dave, you're going to hate me for this, but this is how we roll here at Footy Unfilterated. Apologies, lads. This is what happens when you drink and message while inebriated, annoyed at footy, and dealing with kids simultaneously. Don't worry, we've both been there. 100%. So we got you back there. Real question should be, have we overreacted to the Suns' early games, and are they really a 7 to 10 wildcard range team? Yeah, nah.
No, I don't think we've overreacted. 3-2, I get it. I think, but there's the sort of weird extenuating circumstances for the Gold Coast where not having their full list, I think, the last few weeks, it's like losing Petrarca obviously is a real kick in the guts. But I think they get him back this week, presumably. And then you sort of, I think their baseline will be just winning all their home games, and they probably, they've already beaten the Cats, they've already beaten the Eagles. They smash Richmond down here. They lose at the G against Melbourne, right? That happens. You're down again below the 27th parallel. It's what happens. You're the Suns. You go to Adelaide. You lose to Sydney. Again, below the 27th parallel. It happens. The big one will be the Hawthorn game they play in Tassie in a couple of weeks. Like, that's the yardstick. If they're good, if they're right there with them. Losing Noah Anderson really, really, really sucks because suddenly you don't have stupid sexy Flanders there as like an extra sort of like mid backup. But you do get Petrarca back, so you've still got Rowell, Miller, and Petrarca, so you should be all right. But then there's like a big run of home games where they got GWS and Kilda Port. They play North down here. Might go to that. Oh, wait, no, I'm overseas for that one. Anyway. Suns, Lions, huge Q clash, start of June. I don't think we've overrated them. I think they're extremely, extremely good when they get to play at home in games on their terms. That's going to be the tricky part. The Melbourne one was really tough. Sydney was really tough. You expect that little bit more of an improvement in some of these away games. Like the Melbourne game was disappointing, but it happens, right? So I think they're still, top 6 team.
Yeah, it's a nah for me. I agree. I tend to think they'll finish in that top 6. Yeah. I think the top 6 is going to be a very much a sliding scale for the whole season, bar maybe the Hawks at the top of the ladder. I think for positions 2 to 6, maybe even 7. Well, I think depending on how things pan out.
Sydney won because they'd never lose again. Then everybody else. So. All right. I love the Suns. I absolutely love the Suns to the point where I still want to go up there and actually go to a game. But I think the way the schedule works, I'm going to really struggle. But anyway, let's do it. Round 6 preview. Why are we starting with Carlton again? Primetime Blues games suck. I absolutely hate them now because everybody it's ritual humiliation. Like that's what it is. It's like you're joining a frat and you're made to like streak through the quad. and everyone's just going, oh, look at their tiny wang. The Blues are 14.5-point underdogs at the moment. Well, they were at the time I wrote this. Let's see if it's call me crazy. I might take the Blues plus 14.5 here, Jez, because
Jim, you're crazy.
this is backs against the wall. This is a Pies team that doesn't have Darcy Moore, doesn't have Steele, doesn't have DeGoey. They'll probably still beat us, but I'll take the plus 14.5 if the Blues can just gum it up and away we go, right? I think there's maybe just enough there on the wide terrain of the MCG. I think they might have a little bit more of a shot. I don't know if they win, but I think it'll be closer than maybe I expect.
I'm going to do something controversial here and check the weather.
Oof. That makes
Because
sense.
that might change my tip. Only because of the way the weather affected the game. Oh, it's going to be 25 with a
Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful day on
late
Thursday, isn't it?
change.
Yeah.
mostly sunny morning, very high chance of showers, most likely in the afternoon and evening.
All right.
So that doesn't give me much. I'm going to take the Pies to cover that line. However, I may change my tip at the last minute.
Nice.
Because I think honestly, I think the weather's going to play a big part in the result. I think that the Pies will still win either way. But yeah, if it's bucketing down from the word go, I think it'll be a lot closer, and we might see something similar to the Collingwood Freo game. Hopefully not. But
Here we are.
see what
Right.
happens.
Cats, Dogs, awesome game. Down at GMHB, or is this a Marvel? I can't actually remember off the top of my head. Because I
Taxpayer
did-
Stadium?
It
Not
is at
sure.
Taxpayer Stadium, GMHBA.
It is?
10.5 favourites are the Cats. I feel like I've got to go with the Cats with the Dogs' injury woes. Blixav's in his 300th game. It should be a really good game. The 10.5, I just don't know. The Dogs, that was a pretty rough capitulation at times, I thought. And I feel like the Cats at home might have a little bit of that sort of same, yeah, we can sort of keep you at arm's length. You don't really stress too much about the ruck situation against the Cats. Like, they're not going to have that they're possibly not going to have that giant domination. But Blixavs and co are probably okay against whoever the Dogs are out there, but I'll still take the Cats.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Cats. Blixavs plays his 300th game this week, which is pretty good, considering he's basically a Swiss Army knife. So,
Yep.
yeah, I'll go there. I think the Cats will be too good. I think they'll run away with it after half time. It'll probably be about 5 or 6 goals. So
23.5 point line in this Sydney derby. The Battle of the Bridge. You got to remember, it's not the Harbour Bridge either. It's the Anzac Bridge. It goes to the west.
do you really want it then?
Who cares? Who cares?
Is it the battle for who gets to blow it up, or
It's the battle for no one's going to be watching this. But the thing is, my favourite story that popped off this week, literally today, was seemingly that Sydney and GWS realised they were playing on Friday this week today.
yes?
They're like, hang on. Wait, why are there 2 games on Friday? Why is there a clash? Like, why don't we have a standalone? And everyone's like, did you not look at the fixture before now? Like, what is happening? And they're like, well,
Even they don't want to play in the game.
nah. So I think the way that the explanation is, like, simply they can put it on a Friday night, they can put it on free to air up there, and it should rate way higher than like whatever the Cats Dogs game would rate up there in Sydney, etc. Whereas a Sydney GWS game, in terms of the ratings down here, like, it's basically trying to get the best 2 ratings together on a Friday, and you're like, okay,
Yeah, that's fair.
sure.
Whatever.
I just
And
hate
if they put it on Saturday on Fox, where it's exclusively paid TV, they probably wouldn't get
that's
the ratings that they would get. So I guess that makes sense.
yeah. So I think out of state as well, like, it's always a little bit different, but there you go. I don't think the Swans will be too. Just trying to figure if I just saw that mouse that's in the in this room. Oh, look out! Bit of a flash out of the corner of the eye. Anyway,
Oh, look out.
GWS are very good. I think losing Caniglio and co is a real kick in the guts, though. I'm going to take the Swans minus 23.5. I think they win this one almost going away. So let's go the Swans.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think the injuries and the outs are going to hurt for the Giants, and I think the Swans are obviously never going to lose a game again. I think they're on an absolute heater at the moment, and they're going to smash anyone who's not up to it.
Especially at the SCG. I mean, the derbies have been really, really fun. We had the finals derby a couple of years ago that was an absolute belter. The GWS completely bottled. And, I mean, I just think Sydney, just their depth, even with like a couple of the dudes that they lose Gould and like it felt like it was a tough one, but I just trust them against GWS, who again just...
I feel like GWS really need a massive game out of Toby Green, and if ever there was going to be a game for him to do it, this is it. But he hasn't really fired a shot yet, and this could be the week, but I still think the Swans will cover.
My beloved Gold Coast Suns against your beloved Essendon Jazz. Here we go. It's a battle of the podcast because I'm a Suns fan now. 42.5 point line are the Suns favoured by at home. I just need to quickly reference a map, and yes, at home the Gold Coast Suns are above the 27th parallel, so I will be taking the Gold Coast Suns to do a bit of a demo job on your beloved Bombers. Sorry, Jez.
Well, I'm going to ride the high, and I'm going to take us to cover.
Nice.
I said I wouldn't do it again, but I'm a born-again, renewed man. I've got confidence and hope. Bombers are going to cover that line.
All right. I like it.
Come on.
I think we've got a Carrara fortress up there at the Suns. Hawthorn are 40.5 point favourites in the Ken Hinkley battle. The fly away Ken Hinkley battle. Hawthorn Port Adelaide.
The flappy bowl.
40.5 is a bit. It's now actually 42.5. And
wow.
I kind of think I'll still take the Hawks.
Yeah.
That is a rough one, isn't it? I don't know.
Is it? How's that Marvel?
Yep. Bit of a strange one. I just don't like
Port. Very odd one.
Port aren't usually too bad at Marvel. Like it's one of the like sort of strange quirks, isn't there? They're not horrible there. The Hawks, 42.5 without Marbior. Can they do it? I think they can.
Yeah.
I think they just run over the top of the power. So.
As I've said repeatedly, I don't rate the power at all, and I think that once the Hawks get a bit of a roll on, they'll be very hard to stop. So I think you might see a nice big bag from Gunston or Lewis or both.
Nice.
And Jack Ginnivan's been unreal too, so look out.
One of the underrated sort of misfires from the Pies has been giving up on Ginnivan, right? They've got a dearth of young talent on that team, and like they just went, nah, he's just a bit of a head case.
And
now
he's starting to mature, and he's playing some really good quality football for them. So
the Crom,
Collingwood.
Crom versus the Saints. The Crom are 15.5 point favourites at home against the Saints. Does St Kilda stay there the entire week? I don't know. This is a weird one too.
You would, wouldn't you?
I mean, probably. Like just if you want to go home, it's only an hour, but yeah. A couple of wineries though. Just go hang out. It's great.
Ross has probably got them running laps up and down the West Beach.
Who are you going to take in this one? I don't mind the Saints plus 15.5.
Yeah, I just don't trust St Kilda, but at the same time, I haven't seen anything from Adelaide that's given me a lot of confidence.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Crows. I'm going to back the Crows because I do think they're a better side than they've been playing. I think that they would have gotten a little bit out of that win against your old team now that you're a Suns man. But I think they'll have a good outing this one. I think they're due to have a good win, and I just don't trust St Kilda.
It's a slightly short week for the Saints on the Sunday turnaround, but I mean, if they just stay over there, then it doesn't really matter, I guess. But I don't know. I just feel like the Saints had a bit of a vibe in that power game that I feel like they can just take over to the Adelaide one. But
yeah,
right,
maybe
Sunday, North versus Richmond.
Richmond
25.5 point favourites of the Roos. I'm taking them in a heartbeat. I think they're just better, deeper, more talent. It's like a Radiohead album. better, deeper, more talented. Like, yeah, sorry, Tigers, but I don't think the first win happens here.
I think the Tigers are in for quite a few weeks of pain now that Essendon are unstoppable. They probably can't even look to into dream time. So I'm going to go with the North Melbourne Kangaroos Football Club as well.
Suva could kick an absolute packet, I think, in that one.
He's been quiet the last couple of weeks, so he's due.
Melbourne plus 20.5 against the Lions. So it's 21.5 now too. So this is at the G on Sunday afternoon. That should be a ripper game, actually. Beautiful.
Depends which Melbourne turn up.
Yeah.
If the Melbourne that thinks they've already got it in the bag, like they did against Essendon. But I could see this. I think this one will go the same way as the St Kilda Brisbane, the North Melbourne Brisbane. I think that the Brisbane will win, but I'm going to take Melbourne to bounce back and cover.
Nice.
So it's a good sort of line where it could go either way. It could quite easily also go quite heavily Brisbane's way, but I think I think Melbourne will cover.
This is one of those underrated sort of rivalries as well. Like every time, what was it, the Melbourne-Brisbane game 3 years ago where the lights went out? Crazy stuff.
And the scoreboard catch fire as well.
Always just weird stuff happens Melbourne-Brisbane. But I think the Lions, I feel like, I don't feel like they've got too many qualms about playing at the G anymore, so I think I'll take them. And finally, we finish off with what do they call it, a derby or a derby over there in the West? It's a derby, isn't it?
It's a derby.
You're a derby. So 42.5 point underdogs are the Eagles.
Do you know what I think of whenever I see the derby? And that jumper, the throwback jumper from last week, is Dale Kickett absolutely laying into Michael Gardner when I think he was in his first season. And it was just, Dale Kickett's arm was just like a windmill, throwing punch after punch. And that was definitely old school footy there. But that's what that jumper reminds me of with the derby. It's great.
Like it. West Coast. Am I crazy for thinking 42.5 might be a bit too much?
Yes, because I'm going to take West Coast as well.
Like, they've kind
because I think
been close-ish.
Yeah. And Freo, as good as they have been, they haven't, aside from Melbourne, they haven't really punished anyone yet. And I think if the crowd gets on side, if it's a West Coast crowd, they're going to get they're going to be even more parochial and vocal or whatever you want to call it than they normally are, and probably 10 times more feral.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with West Coast as well to cover that. So
yeah, they lost in the game last year by 38. I want to say there was the West Coast home game, and then when it was the Freo home game, it was 126-77. I feel like the Eagles are a little bit better this year. Losing Dev Robertson hurts, obviously, but I don't know. I'll take the 42.5. Picks tracker. We split the picks again this week, so it's 23-26. So Jez is still 3 up on me. Right. Slevo's Punters Club. What do you got for us this week, Jez?
Well, I'm going to ride on the fact that the Swans aren't losing ever again. I'm going to go with Isaac Heaney, 25 disposals and 2 goals.
Nice.
It'll get you a couple of shekels
against GWS
for your dollar.
He has had some
GWS. I think he's
pretty great games against him too.
Yep.
Yours, what was yours last week? Voss 3+.
Yeah, Voss, and he
and
sputtered it up.
No one did anything. I had Adelaide 60+ if they were going to belt them. I looked like I was absolutely bang on at halftime, but
I think the rain killed us there.
Yeah, absolutely it did. I remember, rain. I think someone was actually tracking the over-under for that game for the Blues. And it was like, by the first quarter, you're like, oh, this is done. And then by the half, you're like,
we're on.
And then
here.
by 3/4, you're like, and then they sort of just kept on scoring.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ben King. Big day against your Bombers, 5+. I think he gets absolutely off the chain against the Bombers. And it's just peppered into that forward line. Flip side, Ben Long, 2+, Ben Long 3+ is probably also where I'd go. Ethan Reid 2+. Like there's a happy sort of middle ground where if you go maybe Ben King, like all of them 2+, you're probably going to hit a few of those. I reckon. I think yeah, they have themselves a bit of a feast against your Bomb Rays, which is a tough one, but you get that on the big jobs.
Oh, if they kick 2 each, that's only 8 for Gold Coast, and we'll kick 20.
27.
So
yeah.
it'll be fine. Yeah.
Nice one. All right, there you go. You know what?
That's it.
That is it. That's the Gather Round Wrap Show. That's the Round 6 preview. It's all going on. It's we're really hitting peak AFL media, circling and following their own tail. Damien Barrett. Oh, they should play the showdown in Melbourne. Yeah, amazing work. Just red meat in front of the dogs. But still, I'm excited about this week. It should be a really fun one. Carlton, Collingwood, I don't know if I'm going to be excited about that. I hate losing to Collingwood more than anything.
Yep.
There was, I don't know, but I don't know. Tomorrow we should just do an extra show and rank all 99 of Nick Dacos's games. So,
Yeah, why not?
just what we need to do. Either way,
And the ones he should have got votes in that he didn't.
like it. Follow us on all the socials, obviously. Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, YouTube. We've got our very own YouTube channel as well, so go check that out. Jump in the comments, say g'day, send through nars on the socials. Just
More nars. Thanks, Dave.
hit us up.
Sorry to out you for your drunken posts.
It's a good one, though.
It was a great one.
So hit us up in the DMs and away you go. But make sure you're subscribed on your podcast app of choice. Get around the YouTube as well so you can watch this. It splits up into 3 bits, so it's a little bit easier to watch. But that's it. Jez, you got anything else to throw in there?
Go Bombers.
All right, not bad. Almost a full year without a win. You got to be up and about. I appreciate that.
I am up and about.
All right.
Go Dons. All right.
Till next week. Stay off the
Footy's
rubbish gear.
back.
Footy is back. This is Footy Unfilterated. We'll see you next week.